My mother and sister have always been super close. They leave me out of everything. Every single time I bring a boyfriend over or try to introduce him to them, they always find something about him that's just so wrong. Well, this time, when I bring over Tom, my rich new boyfriend, they can't get enough of him. And you will not believe what my sister actually does behind my back. I'm a 21-year-old woman, engaged to be married to Tom, my 22-year-old hunk of a fiance. I met Tom on a double date last year and we hit it off right away. Hence the very quick engagement. I mean, we haven't been together for more than 15 months, but we just clicked so well that we just wanted to go ahead and get engaged. Tom is handsome, successful, and he has a great job as a computer programmer. He comes from a good family and he's smart to boot. His family were so welcoming when I first met them, and they've really accepted me as their own, even with the quick engagement. They're kind, and well, I get along with his parents and his siblings pretty easily. My family, well, on the other hand, is not so great. My dad, he left when I was 13, so it's just my mother, my sister, and me. My sister is 3 years older than me, and she's pretty much the golden child in the family. I was always the awkward, nerdy sister, and she was the tall, blonde cheerleader. I know, it sounds cliche, but it was my life throughout school. Boys would ask me to get them for her number, and girls would just idolize her and try to make friends with me, just so they could meet her. We come from a pretty small town, and clearly there was little in the way of entertainment. My mom has always shown favoritism towards my sister, even when she was younger. Mom always wanted a kid, and after a series of miscarriages, my sister was her little miracle baby. So they had a really special bond that I had no hope of breaking into. Dad was always my favorite, and once he left, I was pretty much left on my own in the family. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm over my past with my mom and sister. That would just be untrue, but I've taken steps to try to forgive them. They aren't the easiest people to talk to, and they can be very cliquish. So trying to be honest with them and have a conversation with either of them is difficult, and made even worse when they're together. They, I don't know, just tend or like to just shut out any criticism and fall into their own little world together. The both of them are very different kind of women to me, which also has exacerbated our relationship. They're both very high maintenance, very fashion forward, and very interested in beauty and makeup. Mom owns a small salon. It specializes in nails. And she would always bond with my sister over their shared interest in hair and fashion. Not to say that I have no interest in that stuff. I do. Just as not nearly as much as those two. My fashion sense is very alternative, so even when we do talk about stuff, neither of them really understand my taste of flavor. Again, this isn't much of a big deal. Moms and daughters have been having different tastes for centuries and will continue for even more. I think it just made it difficult for me to fit into the family dynamic. If my sister wasn't there, my mom would have probably just made more of an effort to understand me. But since she already had her own little mini-me, she didn't really see the point in trying to bond with me. Well, now, my mom's salon, it's gone out of business, and she's had to get another job in a salon, which is a source of great shame for her, and honestly, it was always my dad who did all the taxes and financial stuff with her shop. So I was surprised it even lasted as long as it did without him. Mom's never been good at that kind of thing. My sister, well, yeah, but she's gone into the business of Instagram modeling. She has a pretty good following, though. It's on Instagram and TikTok, but she doesn't make any money from it. Her content, I don't know, it's just pretty risque. So brands are hesitant to try to sponsor her or work with her or ask her to advertise their products even. Last I heard, she was considering starting an OnlyFans account, but my mom stopped her. My sister is beautiful. I'll put that out there. She really is a gorgeous woman, but I think she overestimates her own looks. One time, when we were both drunk, she went on a tirade about how she's literally the most beautiful woman in the world. Obviously, I'd heard her say this before, but I always assumed that she was joking when she said it. But no, she's completely serious. I think she really has deluded herself into thinking she's some world-class beauty. Every time we talk, she'll talk about her new casting calls, auditions for agencies, her runway walk. I think her dream is to be an editorial model, but so far she hasn't been casted. Personally, I think the seductive content she posts on Instagram, TikTok, all those thirst traps, I think they hurt her far more than they help her. She has a following of around 70,000 people on each account, which, don't get me wrong, that's incredible. It's more than I could ever achieve, that's for sure. But most of the accounts that follow her are just pictureless, nameless. They have no identifying features. I don't think her content is attracting the type of people that she wants. And I think the image she's putting to the world is wrong for what she's trying to achieve. As far as I know, modeling agencies want class. I don't know, just a different type of beauty, which just isn't the way she's coming across. God forbid you tell her any of this though. I can't even tell my mom my worries about the way she's handling her career. She'll just run off and tell my sister, and the pair of them will ignore me for weeks, like a childish little club. At this point, I've stopped trying to give either of them advice. In their eyes, I'm the boring one. The business major who takes after boring, dead old dad. Neither of them seem to have realized that my business expertise could actually make both of them a lot more successful. Again, I'm not trying to pile on. I love my family. I just want to give you guys a full picture of what they're actually like before I move on to tell you guys the next part of this post. Basically, they're both a little selfish, a little conceited, and I think they're smarter than everybody. Yeah, right. They think they deserve things without working for them. This all ties in with what happened once they met my fiance. He wasn't my fiance yet when he met my family though, but we were a lot further on in the relationship than one would typically meet the family. I'd been nervous to introduce him to mother and sister because their reactions are just unpredictable. Every boy my sister brings home hangs the stars. He's the perfect little boyfriend. But everyone I bring home is picked apart and subtly insulted. I didn't want that to happen to Tom. But eventually, after 6 months, he really wanted to meet my family. I had to set some ground rules with him before they met, though. I wanted to protect him from their judgment. I'd learned with other boyfriends that neither of them liked men who were too smart. I think they always just underestimated my own intelligence and assumed that no one could like me for my intelligence. Every time an old boyfriend would try to talk about anything, they just look at him with his condescending smile and act like he was trying to impress them. Well, guys, this did not happen with Tom, though I was fully prepared for them to hate him. He's nerdy, he talks about computers, especially programming, and he has this weird little niche hobby. Obviously, I love this stuff about him, but I doubt my mom and sister would feel the same way. This is going to sound terrible and judgmental and rude, and I know it's not nice to say, but I think they could tell from the minute they met Tom that, well, he has money. And that's exactly why they like him from the get-go. Both of them have a real taste for rich guys, so it's like they can smell it in his blood. It's ironic, honestly, that they're the ones who actively seek out men with money, but they're also the ones in crazy debt. And I'm the one engaged to a well-off guy from a good family. God love him, Tom did not heed any of my advice. As soon as he met them, he was talking about work, about all the computer science stuff he talks my ears off about. But instead of being rude, Mom and sister acted like they understood what he was even talking about. In fact, instead of becoming a little clique of two, determined to shut out whatever it was I was dating, it seemed like they were trying to suck Tom into their atmosphere and leave me as a punching bag. It was strange, and this kind of thing had never happened before. But my sister started making snide little remarks about my intelligence, explaining things she said specifically to me, just all around being a real condescending jerk. Tom did not seem to notice at all, bless him, but once we left, he was mad. He'd been ready for them to be rude to him, but he didn't like the way that they were treating me. I haven't had somebody tell me that, or have someone on my side since Dad died. So it felt completely surreal. That was the night I knew that I wanted to marry Tom. As our relationship continued on, one thing was made very clear. My mother and sister loved my boyfriend, and he absolutely despised them. I don't think either of them noticed that he didn't like them, too wrapped up in their own little head. Every time I would see either of them, they would always ask after him, ask why he wasn't with me, and I swear they thought we were attached at the hip or something. After a while, it became very clear that my sister had a crush on my boyfriend. I'd seen her flirting before, I knew the signs. The hair flipping, the obnoxious laughter at funny jokes. It was almost painful to watch her flirt with my fiancé. And even worse, knowing that very idea of it disgusted him. My mother knew it well too, and she wasn't hiding it. It seemed like the both of them were on a crusade to be matchmakers between him and my sister, with zero regard for the fact that he was actually, dating me. Everything sort of came to a head last week, when my sister and mother were helping me choose a wedding dress. My fiancé is paying for the wedding, so the budget for the dress is higher than I could have ever have imagined, in all my most far-fetched dreams. And let me tell ya, my sister is not happy about this, and that she can't even speak about it. Every dress I tried on, both of them would shut me down, make rude little comments about my body, and make me feel terrible for my two best friends who also came along. I make it a point not to mix my family and friends very often because I know the two parts of my life would not mesh well. And oh boy, I was right. My best friend was practically vibrating with anger every time my sister found a subtle way to call me fat, or my mother found a way to let me know my sister would look better in that dress, or any dress given that. I was dealing it with my own little way, with copious breathing exercises and calming mantras that I've been practicing ever since I was first left alone with both of them. It was then, however, that my sister decided that she should try on a dress too. Even I haven't expected this. Normally, you don't have to tell people it's rude to try on a wedding dress at their sister's fitting. It's just something that they're supposed to know already. Unfortunately for me, my sister either doesn't know or doesn't care about social etiquette. She picked out the biggest, most poofy princess ball gown dress she could find, and she asked the attendant to help her try it on. The poor woman looked so shocked, she looked like she was watching a tennis match. Her head was bouncing from me to my sister, to me to my sister. She seemed to be checking if it was alright with it. I wasn't one bit alright with it, but once my mother stepped in, giggling and laughing, telling my sister she should definitely try it on. The poor attendant was pushed into one way or the other. My friend's jaws were basically on the ground, and they looked like they were expecting me to speak up, but, well, I didn't. I think my staying quiet shocked them more than my sister's audacity. They've heard stories about her over the years, so they know that she can be like this. I, however, have a reputation for being quite outspoken among my friends, so I know that it came as a real surprise to them that I just kept my mouth shut. After all these years, I suppose it's just kind of a survival instinct that I've picked up. You shut up and you take it. Something in me snapped, though, when my sister walked out of the fitting room in a dress that was even above my own budget, and my mother burst into tears. Mind you, I tried on 4 dresses already and was wearing my 5th. The nicest thing my mother had to say when I walked out was that the dress made me look thin. Then she said that my sister looked like the one worthy of such an expensive dress, not me. It was the last straw. I said that she should stop trying to seduce my fiancé, and I just walked out of the room. I had tears in my eyes, but I wasn't going to let them see me cry. My friends followed me out, of course. I took off the dress and we went to the bottomless brunch and got absolutely plastered on mimosas. It's been a few days, and only today has my mother reached out to me. She asked to meet her and my sister for breakfast tomorrow, and I agreed, but I am nervous. They're going to try to pretend like nothing happened. Like they haven't done anything wrong, but I'm tired of brushing their mistakes under the rug. I'm going to tell my sister that the way she flirts with my fiance is absolutely inappropriate. And the way she hijacked my wedding dress fitting was rude and self-centered. Mom will take her side, but at this point, I just want to get it off my chest. Update number 1 week later. Hey guys, I spoke to them. I got everything off my chest like I wanted. Well, I didn't go into the deep stuff, like the way I'd always felt left out in their little club, but I told them about the issues at hand. As I suspected, it did not go well. I knew that they were going to take it badly, but in my head, I still imagined this little fairy tale where they both apologized. But no, I told my sister that she acted like inappropriate every time she was in the room with my fiance, and that it was disrespectful to our relationship. She ran out of the restaurant crying, and I simply didn't care. I ruined her breakfast. She ruined the one time I'm ever going to pick a wedding dress. The two are not comparable. Mom stayed. At first, I thought she was going to apologize, and she had a really serious look on her face. And yeah, for just a second, I thought she was going to take my side on this. You guys will not believe what this woman had the balls to say to me. Her own daughter. She asked me if I could just let my sister have Tom. As in, leave my fiancé so that my older sister, who doesn't even like him, could snatch him up. I kid you not. This is what she actually said to me. My face must have looked so funny when she said that because I honestly just could not believe my ears. I thought I was hallucinating. I asked her to repeat herself and she said it again. She said that my sister's career was failing, that her only chance to live the life she deserved was to marry rich, and she'd chosen Tom. It sounded like the two of them sat down and prepared for this exact conversation. It was insane. Like, they had come up with a pitch together to try to get me to agree and just pass the man I love along. When I didn't even answer, she started giving me even more reasons. Apparently, since I'm the smart one in the family, I'll have a good life no matter who I marry, because I have a good job. Apparently, my sister doesn't have that luxury. She's made it seem like Tom is my sister's last chance at living a good life. Like, if I don't agree, I'll be forcing my sister into poverty or something. It was absolutely crazy. I'll be honest, I don't remember what was said after that. I was so out of it. I'm pretty sure I just grunted every time Mom asked me a question, and the next thing I know, I was sitting alone at the table, the bill waiting beside me. I haven't told Tom what happened. I don't know why, but I just can't bring myself to say out loud that the gross things my mother did. I don't know how she managed to get the words out without shame, but it's a miracle she did. I just told him that I had an argument with them when we were wedding dress shopping. He probably thinks they called me fat or something, which they did, but that's not what I'm mad about. I'll let you know how things progress, but I have a nasty feeling that the calm days are over, and my sister and mother will be doing more crazy stuff before long. Update number 2. Well, as expected, the pair of them acted like fools once again. I just didn't expect it to be literally a week after their last show. So, I haven't been speaking to either of them for the past week, and to be honest, I've been pretty calm about it. I think it's been the first week of my life that I haven't been wrapped up in their drama. Or at least the first since my dad left. Tom's definitely start to notice a difference in me. Though he seems to be walking on eggshells around me, tiptoeing around the apartment as if I'm going to blow up on him if he makes too much noise. It's ridiculous. I've never even so much as raised my voice at him, but I'll admit that my energy has probably been kind of tense lately. I think this is why what happened next happened. So, Yesterday, Tom gets a text and we're sitting on the couch together watching TV when his phone made a funny noise. I only noticed what happened because he was tilting the phone away from me in a really obvious way. He's never done anything like that before, so slight alarm bells and red flags were going off almost immediately. But I trust him too much to have been crazy worried. He's prone to big gestures, and honestly, I was half expecting him to be preparing some kind of big surprise. I mean, he's done that for me before, bought like a dozen bouquet of flowers when I failed an exam, silly stuff like that. So, obviously, I wasn't all up in arms or anything and was even secretly quite pleased. And I was right, in a way. He was planning something nice, because that's just the kind of man he is. But unfortunately, he was hijacked into some crazy attempt to break us up. It's 2 a.m. as of right now when I'm writing this update. Tom got home at 8 and he seemed really upset. He was all shook up, but he didn't seem to want to talk about what was actually bothering him. I tried understanding and, well, I gave him some space, but eventually I just asked him directly what is up. I thought that it was going to be a bad day at work or something, but oh no. So, the other day, my mother sent Tom a text. She said that I'm mad at her, and she wants to make it up to me. She asked Tom if he could help her. Tom, knowing that I've been in a bad mood recently, agreed immediately. I haven't told him the details of why Mom and me and my sister have done, and they spun some bullcrap story about how I was mad that they didn't like the wedding dress that I've chosen. So, Mom asked Tom to meet her at a restaurant downtown at 7 p.m. yesterday, so that they could talk over the best way to cheer me up. Tom was happy enough to do this, arrived, and what did he find? Not my mom, but my sister. Dressed the nines, hair blown out, crazy jewelry, makeup beat like crazy. She was sitting in the very back of the restaurant in a little secluded booth, candles lit on the table, apparently all very romantic. Tom, having no idea that my sister wants him, of course thought it was weird, but he just sat down opposite of her and asked where her mom was. Busy, my sister told him, so it'd just be the two of them. Tom was apparently getting more and more uncomfortable by the minute, and he also said that my sister tried to hold his hand a few times. My fiancé is polite, like to a fault, so it took him a while to tell my sister to stop. That's when she tried to convince him to leave me. Yeah, that's right. My own sister tried to convince my fiancé to leave me for her. My mom and my sister colluded together, put their little airheads together, and tricked my fiancé into going on a date with my sister. Yeah, I'm absolutely furious. Apparently, after Tom tried to let my sister down gently, she had the audacity to try to make him pay the bill. After she ordered the most expensive things on the menu and knocked back 3 glasses of wine. You want to know the worst part? Apparently, one of the times my sister grabbed Tom's hands against his will, my mother suddenly materialized from the darkness and took a picture of them. Then she just left. I can only imagine what her intention was with that picture. As far as I know, I can guess they were hoping to make it look like Tom was cheating on me. With her. I assume that in a few days I'm going to get the picture sent to me from Mother, with a heartfelt message telling me that my fiancé has made his mind up. I just know that they'll try to use this to drive us apart. They assume that Tom would be too uncomfortable to tell me what happened, that I'd see the picture without any explanation and write off his excuse as just that. They don't know that we have a stronger relationship than they think, and I'm in shock. I know that I shouldn't be. This isn't one of those instances where you hear a story and don't believe it. As soon as Tom told me what happened, I believed him. That's why I shouldn't be surprised, but I really just did not expect this level of selfishness from either of them. I know that Mom's always played favorites. I just never expected her to be so obvious about it. Honestly, I'm at a loss at what to do right now. I haven't heard from either of them in a few days, and I'm sure not going to be the one to contact them first. Either way, no chance. I have been trying to get sleep for like an hour before now. And once I realized it was pointless, I started writing this update. I know you guys will just be as shocked as I am at this development. Sorry, I don't really have any concrete news for you guys as to what exactly is going on or I'm going to do about it. I really just can't focus on anything. I'm going to try again to get some sleep, and I'll talk to my friends about it in the morning. I'll let you guys know if there's any updates to the situation as it happens. Thank you everyone for the comment sections and support. Update number 3, final update. Hey guys, sorry for the late update. I know it's been a while. I've had a lot recently going on. I've been absolutely swamped with wedding preparation, and the big day is actually next week. I can't even put into words how excited I am, honestly. With regards to my mom and sister, neither of them are invited to the wedding. After the little stunt they pulled, trying to trick Tom into a date, I haven't talked to either of them. I was right in my prediction, though. A few days after the crazy fake date fiasco, my mother sent me a picture of my sister and Tom looking super cozy holding hands. I was told that a family friend spotted them and sent the picture to Mother. She had this big long message written out, telling me that she loved me, that she was sorry that she had been the one to tell me this, all of the overdone cliches. I didn't even bother replying to her. I'll admit that what I did next is kinda petty, but I ran to my dad and told on my mother and sister. Ever since the divorce, my parents had a very strained relationship. Mom cheated on my dad, which I only found out a few years back, and that's the reason he left her. He even tried to get custody of my sister and me, but Mother blocked him. Well, he's always been a pretty meek guy, never really speaking up or anything, but once I told him what Mom did, he went absolutely postal. He was so angry. Honestly, it felt nice to just have someone on my side for once. I don't know what exactly he said to Mom or to my sister, but I know that there was a lot of yelling. Well, whatever it was that he said, it seemed to do the trick. I haven't heard from either of them since, and I do feel a little bad for basically banning my own mother and sister from the biggest day of my life, my wedding. I've always been a forgive and forget type of person, but I just can't get past the sneaky, underhanded tactics that used to get what they want. No good mother would do something like that to her own daughter, and I guess it was just my final straw. The two of them have been treating me like nobodies for years, stepping over me, ignoring me, and now they've finally gone too far. Honestly, I can understand my sister a little bit. She's always wanted to live some extravagant lifestyle, and with Tom's money and success, she could do that with him. She's never been one for hard work, and I can see how she might have thought that stealing him from me was the easy way out. However, I don't know. My mom, I feel like she's really dropped the ball on herself. She was so focused on my sister getting whatever it is that she wanted that she's forgot that I'm her daughter too. I was the one who felt most of the obligations, not my sister. If Mom had just left my relationship alone, Tom and I probably would have paid for her to open a new shop. She hates working for other people, and with my help, she could have been really successful. Even if we hadn't gone that far, we would have probably have helped her retire early anyways. Tom's parents are both retired, and he makes enough to support them with ease. With our combined income, we would have taken care of her. Now she has to rely on my work-allergic sister. Tom's been quiet since everything went down, and I know he feels a bit guilty. He feels like he's the reason I've got no contact with my family. I've tried to tell him so many times that's not his fault, that he was the victim of their scheme as much as I was. But he isn't buying it. He's always hated my family, but that never stopped him from wanting me to have a good relationship with them. I don't know, he seemed to perk up a little recently, with the wedding coming up and all. Originally, my sister, she was going to be my maid of honor. I picked her out of traditions, really. Now though, it's going to be my very best friend. Honestly, I feel like the wedding's going to be more about me and Tom now, without all the influence from Mom and sister. I just want to say one more thing. I want to thank everybody who talked me through this very difficult time. I need you guys to know that I appreciate it so much, and I've got some really amazing advice throughout these posts. I doubt I'll be updating anymore, seeing as I've completely cut those two out of my life, so I guess this post ends here. Thank you everybody for your time. This is just one of those stories where you grow so much hatred towards the mother and sister. Like, why were they treating literally their sibling and daughter like this the entire time? Let's just shout out the father of the story really quickly, who took up for OP. Even though the father was divorced from the mom, he did not care once he figured out what was going on. And also, good for Tom for not playing into those dirty tricks of holding hands in the restaurant. I want to know your thoughts, guys. Go ahead and drop your comments down below. Let's discuss this story. If you've ever been in a similar situation, what was it like? If you're new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, as I have a story every single day, and you can find my other channels too, directly in the comments below. Go ahead and check out the other channels, guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you tomorrow.